Hi, this is Stephanie Hansen with the Makers of Minnesota, and I am going to help you with your strategy for your business in 2021. Are you dreading social media and not sure when you should be posting on Facebook or Instagram? Or maybe you want to reach out to some influencers, but you don't know how to do it? Or maybe you just want someone to actually use your product and create some recipes for you. I am your gal. I've been developing lots of relationships over at stephaniesdish.com, and I can help you get your product into the hands of people that are going to use it and create influence and create buying patterns for people that you can count on as new customers. 2021 is going to get all of a sudden ramped up, and we're going to be moving real fast to capture some of the business opportunities that we lost in 2020. Don't be left out on the cold. Have new followers and new pairs of eyes on your product now. Give me a shout. I'd be happy to help you. I'm at shansen, Hansen, marketing at gmail.com. It's shansenmarketing at gmail.com for small business marketing for things like social media, recipe development, influencer posting, and just general PR help and getting the word out about your products. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Makers of Minnesota. I'm Stephanie Hansen, your hostess with the mostest. And the program here, we talk to cool people doing cool things throughout the state of Minnesota. And I like to talk a lot about food and distilling and beer because that's really fun. So today I'm here with Mary and Tyler Schnitker, and they are the co-owners of the Skaalven Distillery. And you maybe have heard me talk about, because I have a product that they make that I really love a lot, which is their habanero rum. But they have a lot of new things happening. They've just opened a cocktail room, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys. I think originally we were talking about that we were going to talk like 2 years ago, and then someone had to cancel, and here we are circling back. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's fun.
How did you guys start the distillery?
I just kind of got interested, and it's always a little bit of a long story. Our story is a little bit that we don't have one. I started making you know what I mean? Everyone's got, like a story behind it. Ours is, I just started making this aged cocktail, I guess you could call it. Started getting popular within my circle of friends, and I was just using Everclear 190. I was in the Army, and I'm in the Air Force now, and I can get that at the base tax-free on Sundays. So I just buy it, and then eventually it started getting so popular within our circle of friends, where they're going hunting and they wanted it. Eventually I'm going down there and buying it by the case, and they're wondering, what kind of parties is this guy having? A friend of ours, Steve, eventually said, "You're onto something with this. You need to sell this. This needs to be something you can buy at a liquor store." And I started Googling it. What's it take to make a alcohol product? I'm like, okay, I'll just buy some bulk alcohol and mix this thing up. And of course, the laws aren't that easy. It said you need to be a distillery, and
right.
Hopped on the old Google and said, well, I don't know anything about distilling, and there's got to be 100 distilleries in the state. And at the time there was like 2, and
were you that early?
The thought of it was definitely that early. And it was just complete accident. I mean, the state's laws hadn't been updated on their website. I had to call them up and so this is something an idiot like me might be able to do. And they're like, yeah. And so I just started researching it a little bit more and more and more. And, I already had a vague business plan from that aged cocktail. And so just started changing that a little bit into, is this even feasible to do ourselves? And I started getting more and more interested in the science of the industry and everything. And just kind of got obsessed about it. Like I've never been obsessed before. And I went to Mary and I said, hey, I've got a dumb idea. And she's heard a lot of them over the years.
Sure.
We're old high school sweethearts from '99. So a lot of dumb ideas over the years. And I'm like, yeah, so I think we should start a distillery. And all my deployment savings that we were, I was going to use to go to PA school and all that. And I'm going to drop out of college again. And
yeah, sure. Why not? It's just, at the end of the day, it's just money. And as long as we have each other and our health, at least we tried, even if we fail. So we found a banker who gave us a very modest personal loan.
Shout out to Brian.
Yep. Shout out to Brian. He also allowed us to refinance these 2 old cars. Each of them had 200,000 miles plus. But,
Wow.
we really bootstrapped the whole operation, and we just wanted it to be something that was fun and affordable, accessible. So Skaalven means cheers friend in Norwegian, after Tyson's Norwegian heritage, not mine. So we wanted it to, represent like Minnesota, the whole Nordic theme, and yet, be fun to, other states and people traveling if they see it.
Who did your graphic design? Because it's really a great package.
Thank you. So that was the wonderful people at Shinebox. Mary and I are both very individually talented, but the one thing we're equally terrible at, it's artwork. So I met the people from Shinebox just by chance and had a meeting with them. And we originally had this logo that we thought looked kind of cool, and it looked like a political logo. It was like cool. Minnesota with red, white, and blue. It was awful. And so we met at the creative agency and a Shinebox in North Loop, Minneapolis. And Randy, one of the owners, he looked at our logo and he said, "How attached are you to this logo?" And I'm like, okay, so instead of like just a couple little tweaks, we need a complete overhaul. And it was just kind of born with that. We said, Mary and I are very down to earth. We like to joke around all the time. I mean, we're very rarely serious around the house. So it needed to represent that. And
Sure.
It also needed to be social because, alcohol, you should be drinking it with friends.
What was in the original drink?
It was like an apple pie moonshine kind of, and I'd never had anything. It was absolutely, I need to start making it again because it's good. And I did recipe after recipe after recipe on it. And
we had mason jars all over the kitchen, in the computer room. I'd find things in the garage and it's like, what is this? It's like batch 1A with this or that sugar and sitting for this long. So yeah.
I love it.
A lot of trial and error, but eventually we decided, okay, that's not really an attainable business plan. So we got to start at square one, which is, the base spirit.
Vodka and rum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mary, you're seeming exceedingly cheerful and helpful and like, yes, let's start a distillery. Was it really like that? Just, okay, yes, let's do it. Are you that kind of a person? Because when my husband came to me and wanted to start a company, I was like, no. How about we don't invest our life savings in this?
Knowing what I know now, I would have said no. But at the time, I thought, Tyson does his research. I trust him. He spent almost a year just looking up everything and studying the trends on the East Coast, West Coast, and really threw himself into the research. And I know Tyson well enough. We've been together, it'll be 22 years, I think.
Oh, you forgot?
I'm not good with the math right now, 22 or 23. Long enough to know that he's not one to just jump into something recklessly without much research and consideration. Right. So I felt very comfortable when he said, it is now or never. I can always go back to school at age 40 or 50, but if we don't get into this business now, it's going to be too late in 2 years.
And you were right. I mean, you were definitely right. And the rum is my favorite product. I've obviously had your vodka too. Was that the first thing that really stood out and was a differentiator for you?
Yeah, I think so. Everyone's got vodka, there's a saying, vodka pays the bills. But, we came out with vodka and rum because they didn't need any aging. They were, fairly easy to produce. The habanero rum, that came about because I really wanted the spicy passion fruit margarita from Bar La Grassa one night. And it was a blizzard in January on a Tuesday night. And I'm like, please, can we just go and have that one cocktail and sit at the bar?
And we live in Brooklyn Park.
So it would have been probably a 45-minute drive in that weather. But Tyson's like, you know what? I got rum. I got some kind of hot peppers. And so he did a quick infusion, made me a spicy daiquiri. And we're like, hey, not bad. So we drank that ourselves for about a year. And then we realized, you know what? Let's see what happens if we just put it out on the market. It's just, we're the only owners of the company. We don't have to ask any investors or shareholders. And fortunately, our amazing distributor, Vinacopia, Marion, had it. And she's like, yeah, I think this would do well. So it's a really fun product. And I always joke and I say that's my favorite kid out of the entire family. And I kind of find it sentimental too, because Tyson made it for me. So I really enjoy that one. And it's awesome in like a hot cocoa or with margarita mix.
I just didn't want to drive in the snow.
Yeah, it's a great story. And you made me just a little sad for a second because Bar La Grassa.
Oh, no.
I was thinking the other day, like those dry rubbed wings, or not wings, the ribs and the spaghetti cooked in red wine, and the eggs, the lobster eggs, brisket, and just, okay. I'm sorry. I just had to have a moment there.
But they're as far as we know, they're reopening, right?
We
haven't heard anything
don't
bad.
know anything about any.
No news is good news then. Let's hope.
Yes. And I feel like the same way. Like, I don't know. And actually they're on my list to ask my radio partner about on Saturday if she's heard anything, because maybe they're just waiting until they can fully open. I don't know, but we digress. So you guys you were in liquor stores, you were making product quite a while before the distillery came about. So was it a natural progression, or were you just trying to decide if you were going to jump in that way? Or
for the cocktail room?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we always wanted to do one ever since they were legalized. And we always wanted to do it. It's just that Mary and I, if we're going to do something, it's got to be special. It's got to be awesome. We don't do anything just to do it.
We wanted it to be meaningful, and it took a while, and fortunately, our distribution in Minnesota has been pretty strong since we came on board in about 2015. So that's been a great problem, but it's also kept us from having the energy and the time to devote to researching and opening a cocktail room. And it was just last year, we had this aha moment. We took a family trip to Japan. My brother and mom and I, my parents are actually from Cambodia, but we decided let's go to Japan and take our mom. Tyson joined kind of at the last minute, and we didn't really know a whole lot about the cocktails and the bar scene in Japan. But once we started visiting a few of them, we were blown away by the level of perfection, the hospitality, and just how meaningful everything was. And we just thought, you know what? This is what's missing, at least in the Twin Cities, and this is what we'd like to bring back and offer. This is a place that I would want to go and drink at. And that's when that vision came to us. And about a month and a half, 2 months later, we decided to return, and we took a consultant and we toured and checked out a bunch of different bars in Tokyo, because we felt like you had to have the whole experience. You couldn't just YouTube and watch, how do you shake a cocktail, Japanese style. You just had to be there and live it and breathe it, drink it, eat it. And I think, once we arrived that first night, she went through and said, okay, I get why I had to come here now.
That's so cool. And
that was a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah. And I have to admit, I have not been to the tap room yet, or excuse me, I keep calling it the tap room, the distillery, the cocktail room.
We know what you mean.
Sorry. I have not been to the cocktail room yet, and I feel really bad about it because you're one of my early liquor companies here that I've wanted to support. So can you give me, since I have not been, and people listening, sort of, I love what you just said, Mary, about the way that feels. Where are you located, and how do you differentiate the craft cocktail rooms?
So we're in Brooklyn Park, right off of 694, just basically right up by this 169, 694 interchange.
Which is close to me now, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, it's we're pretty close to everybody. We've got a huge parking lot. We're in a multi-tenant commercial building in a warehouse district. You have to look for it a little bit because we've got new landlords that we're still waiting to find out if we can put signage on the outside of the building. Yeah, that's where we're at. Right now we're open on Fridays and Saturdays. We're probably going to be expanding that to Thursdays. Obviously, we're just reopening in a week, so we're taking things a little bit slow just to be careful.
As far as the aesthetics, if you're wondering what it looks like, so you pull up to the building and you're thinking, this can't be right. It's like a 70s office building. I've got to be in the wrong place. But we'll have signage outside typically. And when you walk down the hall, it's like, okay, I don't know about this. And then when you open the door, we've had a lot of people say, holy link.
You can say shit on a podcast. Okay. Holy shit.
Holy shit, or worse. And people are just like their mind is blown because they did not expect, the ambiance, the music and the decor and just how intimate it actually feels. And I kind of joke around, and I really dislike the term speakeasy. It just, I don't know, it sounds too trendy.
It's overused, yeah.
Overused, but I would say imagine like an 80s Tokyo speakeasy transported to the Midwest. So it's got touches
great.
Of Japan and a little bit of Cambodia. So we've got one corner where it's very like lush and, just lots of Cambodian art and and the design, and plants live, and some are fake. And, we've got a TV area, which we call the home section, with a TV from the 80s, and Tyson rigged it up with some kind of device. All I know is it's called Raspberry Pi, and it sounds delicious. I don't know.
It's connected to the internet. It's a Raspberry Pi is a little microcomputer, but we have that playing some videos. And
cool.
It's the cocktail room. It kind of just evolved. It became kind of like more like travel. Like the bar itself is more Japanese themed. We're not to the level of like Japan's top bartenders, because those people have been literally bartending and trying to achieve perfection, which is always unattainable, for sometimes 30, 40, 60 years even. But it's themed after Japan, and a lot of those bars where it's got little bits of it taken from it. And then we have the more kind of TV corner, which is its own place, and then the Cambodian area. And so it's definitely travel related, which is what the Vikings were. They're explorers. They like to travel. And something that I did with the design of the place is I wanted, and sometimes to my downfall, is that I want every experience a customer has when they walk in to be awesome. Like, no matter what that experience is, if it's something I can control and we have a budget for, I want it to be awesome. And it could be the experience of what direction they're facing and what they're looking at, how the lighting is, the sounds that are in there. We've spent a ton of time and money on the lighting and the acoustics to try and get that right, so it's a more welcoming environment. And the artwork, which is still evolving, that just takes time to kind of fill up. We've got a
Sure.
local artist doing some paintings for us, Matt Oleg. Yeah, I just want it to be the coolest place ever. And we're constantly looking at everything. It's something our bartenders, who are just phenomenal artists themselves, I'll go to them with like a crazy idea. Hey, what do you think about this? Can you do it? And they're like, I think so, maybe. And like they do it, and it's absolutely awesome. Like, this is great, guys. And then they always know the next words out of my mouth are, how can we make it more awesome? Like we don't, just like how we didn't just open up a cocktail room just to open one up. We wanted it to be awesome, and taking everything to the next level.
Is there a food component?
Soon. So two of our bartenders, Dick and Nelson, both worked at Travail, James Beard restaurant. And so we have chef bartenders, and then Bryce is from Hi. He's still working there. And yeah, just that, not only bringing food, but pairing it with the cocktails as well. Dick is a sommelier as well. So yeah, we don't have much right now, but that's something that we're working on, but it'll have to be awesome. And Mary got a little taste of that today, I think.
And we're on the right path. That's all I will say for now, but I'm very excited for everyone
Mary,
to experience and eat it. It was delicious.
I'm stuck in this hotel in middle of nowhere, Minnesota.
Are you in the Guard, or are you?
I am. I'm in the Air National Guard. I did 6 years with the Army National Guard with a deployment to Kuwait. 6 years, 11 months, and about 25 days ago, I switched over to the Air Force, and I've got about a week left in my final contract here. So right now I'm deployed for, it was a voluntary deployment I took on about a month ago for COVID relief for the nursing homes.
Yeah.
So I'm doing, nursing care in nursing homes with the needy, while that nursing center is, basically been ravaged by COVID, where a majority of the residents have gotten COVID. A majority of the staff are typically out with COVID, and just filling in and getting that done.
Are they getting you guys close to vaccines?
Yes. So the vaccines I haven't been doing them, and I won't be by the time I'm out. But the next agenda, as far as I know from the Minnesota Department of Health, is to start doing the vaccinations in the nursing homes. And that should, and the key word is should, make this pandemic, hopefully, it's not going to go away, but it should make it a lot better. Right now, Minnesota, in the past roughly month, we've administered over 100,000 vaccines. And a lot of that was for the frontline healthcare workers who are very important, because if they're sick, there's no one to take care of all the people.
Right.
Then the next thing is your highest risk population, which is the people in long-term care facility centers that make up more than 50% of the deaths from COVID. And we've got roughly 65,000 of those in Minnesota. So we should be able to vaccinate all of them within just a few weeks. And then I would imagine you'd start seeing a very sharp decline in the daily death toll of COVID, which would be very nice to see.
It would be. And my husband's mom is 87 and lives in an apartment building on her own. And so we're like waiting, like, have you gotten an email yet? Because I think she's then maybe in that next group. So I appreciate your service for our country and for helping people out. That's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
I could not do what you do, so I appreciate that you can do that. But what I can do is help people to get to your craft cocktail room. See, I said it right finally. You guys really set a place for me in my mind, and I'm so excited to actually get into it. Thank you for being a guest today, and thank you for being one of the makers that make our community so great. You guys, I mean, hadn't you just how long had you been open before you were told you had to shut down?
5 weeks. Yeah. 5 weekends we were open.
Yeah, so it was almost like a practice run.
That's right, a rehearsal.
It was. It was honestly really nice to shut down it wasn't nice to shut down. It was, worst case scenario, obviously, but it was nice to be able to take that step back and make things better and see where we were deficient before we got in the bad habits.
Yeah.
So we're all kind of excited to reopen, like a new life.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to wait a little bit.
Yep. Not a problem. I understand.
Yeah, but I will be there as soon as I can. Thanks to you guys for being on the program today. You've been big supporters of Makers of Minnesota. I know you listen, and I really appreciate it. And
thank you.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do an interview on you sometime.
Anytime. It's not that exciting, but I'd be happy.
I'll interview you next time.
You know what? I may take you up on that because I've been doing this now. I mean, this is my 3rd year, and I think I've had over 180 episodes, and you forget sort of people are coming in and going all the time, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of people that don't know from some of the very beginning. So I may take you up on that. Yeah. You seem like a pretty smart cat.
You have to look at it like I'm a hobbyist photographer, and you know what that means?
Yes.
I'm rarely in the photos. And you doing the podcast means that people don't know who you are as much.
Yeah. And I'm pretty funny. I have to say, I was a business owner myself and have had a couple of different iterations of life, one in hospitality too. Mm-hmm. I always said for the longest time until I actually turned 50, my best job, I was a great cocktail waitress. I was amazing. I could carry on a tray 3 tiers of drinks and have it this high over my head because I worked at a place called the Heartthrob in St. Paul.
Oh my gosh.
I think I remember that place.
Yeah, I'd have a whistle around my neck on a lanyard.
Wait, was that the roller skate place?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And I had a pink poodle skirt that was short with a leotard and my black high top Reeboks and my tray over my head. And I would blow my whistle and use my other hand to sort of navigate through the crowd because we did a happy hour every day from 4 to 8. So everybody got 2 for 1. So if I had a table of 4 ordering drinks, it was 8 cocktails that I had to bring out. So yeah, I've got a funny hospitality background.
I appreciate that. That's amazing.
Thanks for being our guest today, Mary and Tyler Schnichter. It is Skaalven Cocktail Room, Skaalven Distillery. You should, if you haven't, get their habanero rum. It's delicious. I like to have it with any kind of tropical juice, a little soda water, and a little lime juice. I actually was just thinking I might go have a drink right now. So, yes, I thank you guys for being guests on the program.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers. Have a good one.
You too.